A wonderful woman to our very own director, producer, and of course, acting head of production. Happy birthday. And of course, to the man as well, our producer for sports segments and also the host of Gospel PR. He's the host of In and Out, I guess, right? Out and About, and also producer of the morning show as well. The brother celebrated his birthday yesterday. His name is Bernard Hazel. Yesterday was your birthday. Belated happy birthday to you, Bernard Hazel. We love you so much. What your brother has done to us here is top notch, top notch. And so thank you for giving him to us to serve the Lord and, of course, serve the viewers of Wake Up Africa and, of course, all the other shows as well. So belated happy birthday to you, Bernard Hazel. Thank you very, very much for being a good elder brother. And so that's by way of the birthdays, right? If you are also celebrating, you can drop your comments on our live feed on Facebook and, of course, Instagram and on YouTube. I will share with the world. Is it okay to now do the weather updates? Is Mr. Solomon Barr ready to do it with us? Absolutely. All right. So we'll see if we can get him on. But if we don't, remember also, as I started saying, that there was also this particular prophet who brazenly said on air or in church that you have to do sex before marriage. It is a must. I mean, he will not mince words. I don't know where it's stated, though, in the Bible. But look, we're misleading. And some of these things are not biblical. And what's not biblical, it cannot stand the test of time. And so most of these things are coming up. We'll be sharing with you. We're talking about them as well, even as we prepare to get into the show right now. All right. So if we're ready with Wake Up Buzz, we can get into that where we share with you headlines making, and so let's get into Wake Up Buzz. Let's pick the headlines from across Africa. Stay with us. Well, let's start off with the local news. Ghana Ports Harbours Authority unveils multi-purpose vessel to strengthen maritime safety and sustainability. It's one space that we've not really paid attention to. There's a lot of money to be made on our water body. We're blessed to have water bodies surrounded us. But again, because of greed and ignorance and half-baked information, amidst people who have a lot of knowledge who are not being used, this is where we are. And so we're grateful that this multi-purpose vessel has been unveiled to strengthen maritime safety. Let's talk about some gold business now. Ghana's trade surplus reaches record $5 billion driven by gold surge. Ghana's trade surplus reaches a record $5 billion driven by gold surge. One of these days we'll have a good conversation on the gold economy here in Ghana and how bad we're doing and how good we're doing. I'm sure you get the sense of what the current state and the status quo is. Still on local news, business environment requires greater transparency and regulatory consistency. UK-Ghana Chamber of Commerce. Can I read that for you again? Business environment requires greater transparency and regulatory consistency. And that's according to the United Kingdom Ghana Chamber of Commerce. What a greater, what a good time to want to share this with us, even as we know it more. Well, let's go to some other news. The European Union's concerns over illegal fishing practices will be addressed. That's according to the fisheries minister. As much as I ascribe to these unions and associations, the international associations and bodies speaking about what the standards must be, I also want them to focus on also their countries and whoever belongs to the union, because it is important that we can take care of our own business amidst whatever it is that we always do here. But, well, that's what the fisheries minister talks about. Sad news over the weekend as far as the local news here in Ghana is concerned. Truck driver escapes death in Achimota overhead accident. So understanding is that that particular long vehicle went over. I'm sure he slammed the brake because he was avoiding an accident just in front of him, slammed. And one thing I'm excited about is that if there was any product in there, the finance product, it did not pour out, because we are in a business of trying to just loot everything on an accident scene right here in Ghana, the diesel tanker and all that. Of course, we have seen that also on the African continent. So that's the last news, though, for the local news right here on the local scene. Let's now do international news. Thousands flee Goma during intense fighting in Democratic Republic of Congo. The fight is still on. Children, women, men are on the run just because two, excuse my language this morning, headless human beings want power. And that is what is happening. It's absurd. It's totally absurd. We'll keep praying. Let's do some other news. "70 killed in attack on hospital as Sudan war escalates." Another headless war being perpetrated on the people, good people of Sudan, our brothers and sisters. We go to some other news. Still on Sudan, Sudan's army and RSF trade blame over refinery fire. Africa, my Africa. Well, still in DRC as well, fighting near Goma escalates as M23 rebels advance, and they continue to advance. Well, still some news in DRC. Rebels close in on key city as 13 peacekeepers are killed. So the peacekeepers are even being killed. It's gotten to that point that peacekeepers, those who are helping to keep peace in the DRC, are being killed. Wow. And that could be you, your brothers and sisters right there. And, well, that's what it is. Well, well, that's news on the African continent, and of course on the local scene right here in Ghana. Let's now bring in the precious one, Biadela, who joins us. Good morning, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining. Don't laugh. Why?
You must be confused. Thank you very much for whose time.
I thought you were a guest.
Yeah, well, good morning.
It's good to have you.
Yeah. Good to be around, alive.
Yeah, alive and around.
And God is taking care of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is.
I know I'm looking great. You
Yes.
haven't said it, but
You are.
yeah, those men will not tell their wives that they are looking great, but it's okay.
Don't loud it.
I still
Lower the volume. Lower the volume. It's okay. But
Hey,
of course,
this one we don't shout.
We don't shout it.
The-
Mr. Solomon Ba has been waiting to speak to you. He said he will not speak to me today.
Oh, really?
So he's on the line for
Yeah, I noticed because you were talking, the line was terrible.
Yes.
Hi, Weather Prophet. I'm here with the good weather. How about we talk about what's going to be happening today in Ghana? Weather Prophet.
Hello, the precious one.
Great. See, I bring the live. All right. So, what should we expect today in Ghana and, if possible, some parts of Africa?
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, friends. Great art as US Dominion. Today is another brand new week, Monday, 27 days into the month of 2025. And we are looking at the weather for the next 24 hours over the entire country. yesterday there's something called convective available potential energy, which was a bit high along the coastal belt and parts of the inland, which resulted in rainfall activities along most parts of the coastal belt, including Greater Accra and parts of the inland areas in the afternoon. The convective potential energy is the energy that allows and helps the moisture, warmth, and humidity level in the environment to rise very high into the atmosphere and condenses into a liquid and form rain. Today, the mist and fog patches will dominate the coastal and the middle sectors this morning, paving way sunny conditions across the entire country, but very dry and hazy over the transition and the northern sectors throughout the day. Few areas across the coastal belts, including western south especially, could experience cloud formation with occasional rain late afternoon into the evening before after 4 p.m. So today, apart from the coastal areas or the western south areas, there wouldn't be any rainfall or significant rainfall activities across the entire country. So the sea will be calm today. Temperatures will range from 24 degrees Celsius to 34 degrees Celsius over the coastal belts, 24 degrees Celsius to 37 degrees Celsius over the middle sectors, 22 degrees Celsius to 36 degrees Celsius over the transition belts, and 23 degrees Celsius to 38 degrees Celsius over the northern sectors. Apart from the coastal areas of Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Cameroon, where the moisture winds are a bit stronger, resulting in some rain, especially Liberia. Countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, northern parts of Cameroon, Nigeria, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Guinea will experience intense harmattan conditions. The harmattan has started getting stronger again, so we should expect less rains in the subsequent days ahead of us. So today, this is the weather we should expect for the next 24 hours over the entire country. However, should there be any changes, I'll keep you updated for viewers and listeners to be very much aware. Thank you very much. But I wanted to tell Koku that I'm also Kweku.
Oh, nice. Yes. And I like how you called me
Kweku.
No, Koku.
It's
That's
Koku.
That's how my mom calls me. So,
Koku.
Koku. Not Koku, right? But yeah, we're excited. Thank God you are not like the precious one. I mean, you don't have to be like the precious one.
Really?
I am the one. She's the precious. I am the one.
So yeah, the one is generic. The precious one is special. Get used to it. Yeah, so thank you very much, Mr. Solomon. Yeah. What is all this thing about? I mean, I heard you talk about the Catholic bishops and
Yes.
It's sad that we have to have this conversation.
Why?
In 2025.
Why?
Do you expect that we would grow, in every aspect of our lives, not just physically, but our spiritual aspect? The church is supposed to be an institution that has a huge influence,
Yes.
or that literally changes the society.
And it's doing
but
just that.
not,
Yes, because the person who sat there as a minority leader and was engaging people brazenly, proud of Freemason, is not just like, I know people who are Catholics who are also upright, morally upright, spiritually upright. So if two people decide to go and speak about Freemason because they feel they belong, that's up to them.
But my question then
It's
would
not the
be-
Catholic bishops.
It's not
job.
about them. But you see,
Right.
when you do something, even when Paul was writing to the church,
Yes.
he would, even though address everybody, but he would talk also about who is responsible for what.
Okay.
God sends people a message through John to the church. Says, I've seen all your but I've also seen A, B, and C. Now, when we want to put bats on institution, it goes to the heads first.
Okay.
Right?
So if
you've done something, I would want to ask, who is your covering? What's your head? Even the children told Elisha that, I mean, he didn't have a covering. In other words, who is your father?
Okay.
Who is mentoring you?
Okay.
How come your substance or what you're producing in the marketplace is not a reflection of what we've taught you?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's I can understand, but again, the miscreants, the people who chose to be Catholics forever and still choose not to learn from what Catholicism is and what the tenets and the principle of that particular sect is, we don't have to blame the bishops for that.
This is really sad.
Some of them are just too arrogant to learn from God. They are arrogant to learn from their bishops and their heads. Yeah. And that is what we saw the other day. And I'm glad they sent out the thing. I'm waiting for him to come. Well, no, we have to. You see, the faith has to not be defended, but I'm saying that people have to understand that there are still the good ones out there.
Exactly.
Not pack us together. But we have a lot of discussions to have. Right? We'll do so. But of course, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, lots and lot more. I also have the review coming up after that. I've been thinking is also up, and then later on, we'll be talking about, Biadela will be engaging people about herbal medicine, the regulatory guidelines to getting licenses and all of that. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
To make it a surprise.
Why?
I knew the dramatic appearance would excite everyone.
I've been looking for you for a very long time.
Why are you so intimidated?
But you just complain that I'm fat.
But you are fat.
Here is my son.
Give me what I want and I will set you free.
Stop! Jesus has set me free. Yes, Lord.
Step up with DStv and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
Buckle up, here we go.
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
Time to boost some office morale. Incredible!
When you want to build a future, you gotta know what you want.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DStv.
I want to welcome you to Wake Up Africa Morning Show. If Africa has ever needed to wake up, it's now. I promise you that this Wake Up Africa Morning Show will impact your life. It will illuminate you. The Bible said that thy word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. You need this insight. You need the understanding required to make all the difference in all of our lives. I want you not just to tune in to the Wake Up Africa Morning Show, but I want you to be a sponsor. I want you to partner with us as we take this Wake Up Africa Morning Show, the inspiration it brings, the impact across all Africa, to homes, to individuals, impacting lives. Join us to make a difference. It is said and believed that in this life, what you do to change the life of others matters than what you acquire for yourself. It is believed that it's not what you have, what you possess that matters, but the difference you made in the life of others. I believe as you partner with Wake Up Africa Morning Show, you'll be joining us to make a difference in the life of so many people out there. Partner with us, and every time we touch a life, you are blessed. Every time we impact a family, you'll be remembered for good. God bless you. Looking forward to partnering with you and tuning in to Wake Up Africa Morning Show.
Barca's season is up and running. Save! Spain are the champions of the world!
Sports Break on Dominion TV.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. This is Wake Up Africa. It's on Dominion TV. And we're streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, and of course on YouTube. You want to connect with us, drop your comments, your thoughts, your questions, your submissions, and I will share it with the world. Welcome to the news review segment. We're excited that you can join us. This is where we get to speak to you about all the news that are making headlines and the details that are available to us. We gather very, very sharp brains, great minds, people of God as well, but who are doing great things in their own endeavors. Dr. Apiakobi joins us. He is a development expert, he is a man of God, and he's the Dean of the Dominion Theological Seminary. He joins us here. Hi. You're looking good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Was there good news over the weekend?
Not at all.
You rested?
I rested.
Okay.
First, one of my members, you know, the one who Villaggio, Villaggio.
Yes.
People don't know that the one who built actually was a Filipino.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So he died last Wednesday or so. Then we did the cremation because it's not Ghanaian, and his father actually built what do you call this one, Temamoto Way during Kwame Nkrumah's time.
You don't say.
He's the first Filipino engineer in this country.
Wow.
And he at the age of 79 he was born here, so you can imagine. Wow. So the children are all yeah. Wow. And also the way Chelsea really messed up this weekend, it was really bad. So my week was my weekend wasn't that good.
That's bad. That's so bad. But of course, when you get these people, let's get to talk to them before we lose them. I'm interested in having conversations with such people. I want to see who they are, what they have done.
Yes,
I'll be excited about it.
For them, they have, like for example, many people don't know, here in Action Chapel, the Filipino church, you know, the valley, something Pejosi Valley.
Yes.
The one who built, or the architect, actually is in the church.
Wow.
The same with the one at Sogakope.
Okay.
He's also,
So he's here?
Yeah, he's here.
No, we'll have to talk to them.
Yeah, I'll let him. Ricky, wherever you are, the church needs you.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. Absolutely. We have the men.
Yeah,
we have the men.
Talking about how the men, real quick. You know, by God's grace, I go to different Christian TV station in Ghana.
Okay.
And they love to get some of these people. And they love to use that word. We have the men. Yeah, we also have the men.
We have the men. And of course, talking about we have the men, we have Mr. Edem Senanu.
Yeah.
He is the man. I mean, what a man. Good morning if you can hear me. Thank you very much for joining us. All right. So we'll connect him pretty soon. But let's start off on a very strong note. Where, as I started saying, the Catholic, especially the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra, has come to the rescue of the Christendom or Catholicism in the world, as they have reaffirmed that Catholics cannot join Freemasonry, emphasizing its incompatibility with church teachings and faith principles. There was a time, and you see people saying, but they have lodge and all of that. Please go and check. Go and check so that you don't misinform. They put out a very long statement. I'm not sure I can read the entire thing, but of course we'll put it on there. The paragraph 4 of that particular, I think so, yeah, paragraph 4 of that particular statement, some tenets of Freemasonry contradicts the teachings of the Catholic Church. let me present some examples at this point. The Masons have denigrated Jesus Christ, our Lord and God, and have put him at the same level as Buddha, Krishna, Confucius, etc. Prayers through Christ are omitted and addressed to the great architect of the universe. So if you heard that particular vetting, Mr. Penny marking asking, in whose whatever, and then he says, and the other guy brazenly, I'm a Presbyterian, and in whose whatever faith you have, whatever, the great architect of the universe. Yes, Freemasonry wants the destruction of Christianity, and no one can claim to be a proud Catholic and a Freemason. Before I share my thoughts on this, of course I have done. Everybody can see my face that I'm thoroughly for this message, this statement, and against what those two gentlemen did on national television. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, I thank you very much. Good morning, and good morning to your cherished viewers. Good morning to Efredem. We're looking forward to hearing you also. Yes. The great advocate for Christ.
Yes.
Yeah. First, I'm very glad Catholics actually have been doing very well recently. They've been doing well all the time, but I'm talking about Ghana in particular, that when it comes to some of these things, they will stand and speak. First and foremost, I would like to say that the way these secret societies have been now coming up and they are trying to really put it in our faces, I think that we need to do something about it. Afro-Americans is becoming unbecoming. I don't know. I think somebody needs to sit him down and stuff like that. And as I said, of course, because I remember I wasn't here, but I heard former president, what's his name, Kufuor, came and also talk about being a Freemason and whatever. Since then, we've been, I think there's been a little bit, people feel at ease. And if we don't take it and stop it, it will keep on happening. So much so that now, even when we come to vetting, we have to be discussing about Freemasonry. And you cannot be a Christian and be a Freemason. I mean, some people will be watching us and say, oh, you are judging. We judge by the scriptures. Yeah, and the scripture made it very clear. Matthew chapter 5, verse 32 said our yes should be yes and our no should be no. Our yes cannot be maybe. And that actually, when you talk about our allegiance, it becomes a problem. So the second one actually is also, Freemasons believe that, for example, when they ask, African-Americans ask, whom do you believe?
Yes.
And he said, the great architects of the universe. And do you know why they intentionally say like? They will say it's a supreme being.
Yes.
Okay. But according for the Buddhists, the supreme architect of the universe is Buddha. For a Confucianist, as you were saying, it is Confucius. Even though Confucius, when he was here, Confucius never once claimed of any deity. Confucius was just a philosopher. And Confucius actually even saying that there will be a man who was born sinless, and that man is God. And still, people follow Confucius. Gautama, which is, of course, who actually propagated Buddhism, of course, India and all, these people were not actually, didn't consider themselves as deities. And yet, when they die, people worship them. And if somebody said, I'm the great architect of the universe, they are basically referring to those people, if they are not, quote-unquote, Christians. So the Christians will say, is God Almighty, Mawu, Nyankupon, Atana, but that same also is somebody. So how can it be that the same God that we are worshiping, somebody actually call that God Buddha? It just cannot be. It just cannot. And also, I have, whether we like it or not, the Freemason people actually do a lot of secret rituals. And some of these secret rituals are basically some occultic things they do. So it just cannot be.
It cannot be. And that's the statement on the screen as well. How about we touch base now with Reverend Bafo Boni, Nanaya Bafo Boni, who is an architect and, of course, a builder and he's also the pastor of the Eagles Network International Ministries. If you can hear me, good morning and thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, Koku. It's nice to be with you this morning. Greetings to all your viewers across the globe.
Righty. The last part, the last line or the last two lines of that particular statement as issued by the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra says, therefore, Catholics are banned from all forms of masonry. To you, is this statement too high-handed, or you think it's come at a very crucial time where, quote-unquote, all those things that do not make sense must stop?
Well, the truth of the matter is that, let me first commend the Catholics and the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference for always taking a stance on national issues. Even when you don't agree with them, at least they are not hypocritical, they take a stance on the issues. This issue of their stance regarding the Freemason Act has been there for a very long time. This is not novelty. I think that the priest is only just rehashing what is already on the books. It's known. It's not a secret at all. I am sometimes tempted to think that one of the reasons why their members don't listen to some of these admonitions is that they meet some of these priests at the meeting. You see, they meet some of these leaders at this meeting because if they don't know them to be active participants of it, then obviously they would not have the effrontery to do it and do it openly. You understand? Only that because they have an oath not to expose each other publicly, they know that when these issues come up, those who are being blasted in public will not betray their other people in other fraternities who are part of it. Because everybody knows ex-President Kufuor has been a long-standing Roman Catholic. He has never hidden his Roman Catholicism and his activeness in Christ the King. Afenyomake has never hidden his Catholic leanings. You see, so and yet none of these people have been excommunicated from the church. When President Kufuor was president, the church never once said it excommunicated him. He's been off the presidency since 2008. Not a single letter of excommunication. In fact, when he was elevated to a high office, the church watched. They didn't write a letter to excommunicate him. And our own Kandapa, our immediate past security, national security minister, has also been elevated. You understand? And the church has issued that statement. That what it fell short of saying is that from today we excommunicated Afenyomake. You see, so for me, I believe that there must be some in-house cleaning. In-house cleaning. If there is no iota of it within the church organization, then obviously they will have the moral high ground. Other than that, the whole thing begins to look funny because I wouldn't understand why they'll behave that way. And mind you, they also have their own, what do you call it? Their own quote-unquote societies within the church. That some of them also dress like the Freemasonic orders, like these Knights of Marshals and so on and so forth. So I think some of these societies that have been created within the church that have some exclusive type of membership, they meet in some exclusive way and do their own exclusive things. It's what is lending credence as well. If I can join one in the church, why can't I join one outside of the church? Because the argument the Freemasons keep advancing is that they are just a philanthropic society like Lions Club, like a Rotary Club, and any other club, and that they just do good to mankind and help each other. You see, yet some people who have left it at the top tier say, like what Dr. Abiyakubi said, that so many other rituals go on that have nothing to do with being philanthropic and are deeply rooted in occultism and satanic practices. So it's something we have to look at. And I think that for us, as non-Catholics who are doing our own churches, we should be very careful as we form, quote-unquote, internal ministries in the church for people to join and to serve within the church. That none of the ministry, whether it's men's fellowship, women's fellowship, hospitals ministry, they don't evolve into becoming exclusive societies within the church that can have some of these characteristics of this external cause and eventually encourage our members to go out there and join some of these secret societies. So that's my take on that.
Very, very interesting. Again, I'm here thinking, well, yes, we've seen all of these over the period. One of the things that I I was not happy about was the brazen act of sharing the knowledge and the pride with which he spoke about it. I'm sure that was what drew the attention. But of course, I am for this statement. If you can look, I'm a very young man. I'm a young man. The way I see my colleagues online saying, "Oh, I want to join the Freemason. I want to see what it is," it's not too good a thing. They are Christians. These are people I know. They go to church and all of that. I don't know what they still want from society such as this. Of course, helping one another, yes, we understand, but not a society that is obviously, again, unless your pastor says you should go. But those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. We'll talk about that. I'm also waiting for the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. It's getting too late. They've got to issue a statement right now. Let's go to the now some issue about the water crisis in the Krobo area, where the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has ordered the Ghana Water Company Limited to furnish it within 5 days with a timeline for the resolution of the water crisis in Krobo area, which is causing agitation among residents. One of these days, I have to speak to Mr. Stanley Martin, one of the PRO of the Ghana Water Company Limited, because quite a number of places in the country have also suffered this, if not still suffering it. Talk me through it. Do you know places as well who are also suffering from crisis?
I mean, you don't have to go far. Just here in Accra.
Just here in Accra.
Yes, of course. I remember when I used to live on the Spintex Road. We used to have serious. And I really think that we're going to have even much more if this galamsey problem is not solved. Because I don't know if you remember, there was a time that they were saying that the things that the chemicals they need, now they have to double it or quadruple it. I cannot even remember. And it's if our water bodies keep on going the way it's going, then we're really going to have a problem. And sometimes it's very sad, because I remember some of us, we didn't grow up in the village, but we used to visit the village a lot. And I remember those days, we will go to, when we visit the village, we will go with the villagers to go and fetch water from the stream, and you can just drink it. Just raw like that. There's one on the Bree Road, climbing the Pejuaso Lodge. There's a certain brook inside, people don't know. And sometime I'll take my children, I have boys. So when they come back from school, I'll just take them a walk. We just go sit down near the brook, very dark, people are not, just full of trees, and just we'll be talking. And then father, son, discussing things. And sometime I will drink it, and my children say, "Oh, Dad, that's yak." I said, "What are you talking about? This one is sometimes better than the one you've been drinking even the distance." And so we used to have very beautiful, clean waters. And Koku, sometimes as a quote-unquote black Asian, you go to some countries, and specifically, let me talk about China, because a lot of them are here. They have beautiful rivers, beautiful ones. And when I see them here destroying all this thing, I don't get angry at them. I get angry at our governments. Because just like the Chinese ambassador said, a while back, not just a while back, like Papa, you say,
yes,
the other day,
the other day.
that no Chinese come to Ghana without knowing somebody here in Ghana.
But why would they come to do it in the first place? If you were trained well, wherever you are, the laws are that if you touch the rivers, to some point, you might even be excommunicated or whatever. Why do you come through someone to come and perpetuate that? That's my question.
Yeah, actually, the issue is that these are companies. They are not individuals. They are companies.
Right.
And they have a company consignment agreement with somebody who is in power.
Right.
And they are deployed to come to work.
Yes.
And so when they come, they realize that this is how the thing is going. If you can't beat them, you join them.
Well, it's hypocritical on the part of the ambassador. I heard him, but I'm saying that you tell your national that when you come in, do businesses, let it be legitimate. How we were taught over there in China, please do so. Do not engage in any form of illegal money.
Yeah.
I think that's a sound advice.
Yeah, let me give an illustration that I'll talk a side that I agree with you.
Before we go to...
okay, so the side I agree with you.
Yes.
No, first the side that I don't agree with you.
Okay.
So that it becomes better. There was a time that one of the I think British High Commissioner.
Yes. John Benjamin?
I don't want to mention him because it's a little bit negative.
Okay.
That who bought a car here in Ghana for I think about 3,000 something Ghana cedis, and the car was more or less like chair rubber, and he used for 3 years or so. And when they called him, he said, "If you don't like it, change your laws," because in Ghana they say that when the government is over and they appraise the this thing, that's what they told me. So that's what I bought it. Now, let me go to that. So, the Chinese man came to Ghana and realized that the illegality here is legal. So, that is it. But now I'm going to the side I agree with you. Togba Afede was part of the some council. I forget the name. Those that they are invited to become part of the council for the government or the president. And when they gave him his ex gratia, it's legal.
Council of State?
Council of State, thank you very much. And he said, no, I don't like it because he stood on his personal principle. So that side I agree with you. But I think that as you are advising this, we also have our advice.
I see, interesting. Water issues, water crisis in Ghana. It's surprising that we are still at this point dealing with basic needs of our people and even destroying it at the same time. Talk to me about it.
Well, I mean, it's a very unfortunate occurrence. I mean, you would have thought that some of these basic needs would have been long addressed. And like what Dr. Jacobi said, once we have made it our culture and our nature to treat our environment badly and to mess up with our water bodies, I mean, these things will go without saying. It will happen. And actually, there's an issue in Ghana. It's not about having laws. It's about enforcing those laws. And so far as we continue to politicize enforcement of laws, we'll keep going around in circles. I mean, I'm told that some of those who have, for instance, started doing this illegal mining with open impunity and brazen stubbornness, actually are convinced that their government is now in, so it's their turn. You see how the thing is now. So for our new president, the challenge now will be, will you turn on your own people? Will you make yourself unpopular with them? You know, so these are real challenges, and I think that we need leadership that is able to put this foot down and decouple itself from the politics. And I think that the one person that can do that dispassionately is our new president, because by at least the tenets of the Constitution, he will not be running again, so he has nobody to please. You know, he has nobody's favor to court. He only has a legacy to leave. So if he puts his foot down, some of these things will be resolved. I can understand that PURC is doing their job, all this 5-day ultimatum and all that, but sometimes I feel they also play the ostrich too much. That you have dug the ground and buried your head as if you are not alive to the reality. Because I remember when one of my young colleagues called Moses Spencer, Ghana Water, I think it was on TV3 or one of these networks, and I was explaining the very thing that Dr. Jacobi said, that already they need far more chemicals now to do the treatment. And then they even indicated that some of the places, the water is no longer treatable, and that they may have to shut down supply altogether, and that this day that is happening in the Kobo area will come, and it will come gradually. I think somewhere in Central region also, something like this came up. You know, and when it starts to bite hard, perhaps we all will wake up, because not everybody can import water from Europe to drink. You know, so we have to be very careful. For me, I do not have any serious blame for our Chinese people, to the extent that they, like what Dr. Jacobi said, when you go to Rome, you do as the Romans do. When I went to England in 2002, right, I was in public once and I really felt like tea. And I was on my way to church. When I got there, the church premises were locked. So now I was left with nowhere, no public place around. And for some reason, I never went by some tree somewhere, wall somewhere, and just unzip and start peeing, because they registered in my subconscious that the 3 months I've been in the country, nobody has been peeing outside, not even the dogs. You know? So suddenly, I felt a certain need for compliance. And at the point, I just sat somewhere in the grass lawn and I unzipped and started playing with some stone pebbles so that it looked like I was just having my personal picnic on the grass. And that's how I saved the day. Because I realized nobody was doing that in that part of the world. So compliance. I land in Kotoka and into the country. If I feel like being, find some place somewhere around airport and then you do your thing. So it's a cultural thing. And when the people come and they see our cultural mindset, then these problems evolve. So let's start enforcing the laws. Let's do so dispassionately without any recourse to politics and political leaning. And then our society will respond accordingly. But if we keep going on this trajectory, I tell you very soon, because many people were quiet because they thought they had the option of borehole. And so the Ghana water people explained that these chemicals seep very deep into the crust. And then some of them are radioactive, like the lead and the rest. They can become radioactive, and sometimes over 1,000 years before there's zero traces of it. So even when you purify the water, those chemical deposits that are radioactive are still in the water. So it will look clean, the brownness and everything is gone, the dirt is gone out of it. It looks like plain water, but the residual chemical components that are radioactive are there. Those are the things that are shutting down people's internal organs and causing sterility and infertility and all these birth disorders that are going on. It's those invisible chemicals. So it's not just about treating the water to look clean. And I think that we should set up our political class to stop playing the ostrich. Stop thinking that because they have a way out, they can keep going on this trajectory. It will not help. Let's sit up and then get the right things done.
Absolutely. One of these days we'll do a display on the table for all of us to see. Probably a doctor and someone who understands this will come teach us. We'll put the galamsey water down. We'll break it down for you so that you understand what we are faced with. That the people who engage in the illegal mining are not only murderers. And I'm using these words advisedly because you see, people are dying out of what they have. People have died. People will continue to die.
And deformities.
And deformities in babies that are born. But we'll talk about that.
Just real quick.
Yeah.
I was giving lectures, public lectures in Asia, in China, and I showed some of our water bodies. I mean, they were shocked.
They will be.
And they were feeling very bad, and they were like, so they are Chinese people. Yeah. It's like, is the government not doing anything about it? I said, it's your own people. And they said, which actually similar to what the ambassador said, that if they are Chinese, they know values. So if they are doing what they are doing, the government should arrest them, and the Chinese government will not say anything.
Well, that's let's use the 4 minutes remaining to talk about Tema Oil Refinery. Again, the workers of Tema Oil Refinery have expressed excitement over the return of John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, with many confident that, well, he will fulfill his campaign promise to revive the ailing refinery. What they have asked us to do is that there are distractions. People are distracting, and they call those people who are tarnishing the refinery's image as criminal-minded individuals. They also claim that the gold for oil policy, which is supposed to benefit Ghana's energy sector, has instead been used by some to undermine Tema Oil Refinery and turn the refinery into nothing but a storage facility. Of course, we also know that there's a new refinery that has been birthed here, and so there's going to be stiff competition as well. Your thoughts quickly on this in 1 minute.
First and foremost, for our viewers, especially from those outside Ghana, this Tema Oil Refinery actually is for buying raw crude oil here in Ghana.
No, you've been buying, getting it because we have it.
Yeah, I love that one. And refine it so that we can use it internally. So we don't have to be importing some of these things. So that's basically that. One of the main reasons why we've been having that, of course, we know it's the financial constraint, but we're not getting the money to buy it. Then, of course, we also have the infrastructure that has really deteriorated to a certain level because we've not been using it for so long. So you go there and you see rust. The thing has been rested too much. No, it's rusting. Then of course, we see the management problem. I don't know if you remember that the management problem between the management and the laborers or the workers, and the politics that normally comes from time to time. I really, really hope and pray that our president could be able to do something about it, because it's very interesting. When we discovered oil, I wasn't in the country. I was so proud. I go everywhere telling people, now Ghana have oil, Ghana have oil. Now we are going to be very rich. Because when Ghana got oil, I was thinking about Saudi Arabia. I was thinking about I came and I realized, so anytime some of my Asian friends here initially were like, now that you guys have oil, why is it importing oil? I said, well, the oil we have, I think only 10% or something. So we don't really have. So that's actually one of the main problems. But I'm really, as I said, I really hope that President Mahama will do something. Connecting this real quick, the NED, I think the National Economic Dialogue team that they have put together. I hope that they will connect this also to the...
Absolutely. Well, that's led by Mr. Ishmael Yamsing, and we'll talk about that later. But we have 1 minute to go. Reverend Bafo-Boni, the issue of Tema Oil Refinery. If you can use 1 minute, I'll be excited.
If the president finds it prudent to get private sector involved with ECG, I think the way to go also with the oil refinery. The government can own shares, and then let's upload it, because the kind of debt that TOR has now, we need a serious investor to first buy off the debt and then bring in new technology and revamp that. And I don't think that where we stand today financially as a country, we are in a position to do that. Moreover, you can't keep staff there and be paying the chief executives big money for not doing anything. I think the right way to go is to bring in PPP, private-public partnership, see what can be done to salvage on the rest of it. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. We're grateful. And that's Reverend Bafo-Boni. Is with Eagles Network International Ministries. He's a pastor there, also an architect and a builder. Dr. Pia Kubi is a development expert, also the dean of the Dominion Theological Seminary. We're grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As always for coming. We're excited.
God bless
and extend our greetings to Chelsea as well. We'll hear from this. We'll take a quick music break. When we come back, Sia Hine will join Precious Biadela with Tech and Trends. Stay with us.
Come on. That's right. Listen, when I saw the wondrous cross and the price you paid on that day, I count it all my joy. song to sing. Give me a new song to sing. You changed my life, you turned my life around. Hey, give me a new song to sing. Give me a new song to sing.
upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GOtv Max and upgrade to GOtv Super, you'll get way more with GOtv Super Plus.
It's so cool!
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
Very good.
Perfect! Upgrade and get even more with GOtv.
I'm in.
Sorted.
GOtv, love it.
Every morning begins with you, your routine, your goals, your journey. Get ready for the day with us by your side. This is Wake Up Africa, your inspirational morning ride. We bring you the energy you need, the insight, and the motivation to kickstart your day. Wake Up Africa is here to connect you to the latest news, your front row seat to all the sports action. Get moving with us for a healthier you. Wake Up Africa gives you daily forecast, keeping you prepared for whatever comes your way. Join us each morning as we start your day together.
My name is Kokulumo, and welcome to Wake Up Africa.
Praise God, it's good to be with you, and I'm Archbishop Nick, and today I feel very strongly impressed by the Spirit of God to share with you reasons for putting together some of these books and materials that I believe will impact your life, like understanding the prophetic. I believe that one of the reasons why the prophetic has come under a lot of attack and under a lot of confusion all across the nations of the world is because of lack of understanding. One of the main things through my observation over the years and the decades in ministry is the misunderstanding between the office and the functions of Old Testament prophets and New Testament prophets. Now, under the Old Testament prophet, because the Holy Spirit hadn't then been given, we were led and directed by prophets under the Old Testament dispensation. In the New Testament dispensation, primarily, we are led by the inner witness and by the Holy Spirit. The Bible says, for as many as are led by the Spirit of God are the sons of God. And so I put together this material to help you see and understand the difference between Old Testament prophets and New Testament prophet. With this understanding, you will have illumination, clarity, and it will remove every misunderstanding. Whenever you see misunderstanding, is lack of understanding. So understanding has the ability to dismiss misunderstanding. I want you to get hold of this book, Understanding the Prophetic. It will dismiss every misunderstanding, confusion, and doubt you have about the prophetic. The prophetic is real. I'm a product of the prophetic. Please get this book of Understanding the Prophetic. It will bless you. God bless you. Bible says, buy the truth and sell it not. God bless you.
Step up with DStv and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
Buckle up, here we go.
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
Time to boost some office morale. Incredible!
When you want to build a future, you got to know what you want.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DStv.
Shoot your hands up, shoot your hands up. Oh yeah. From the rising of the sun till it's going down, all the praise shall be to Jehovah, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. His name is Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Nissi, Jehovah Tikkenu, the Lord my righteousness. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So lift up your hands and join in this time of worship. Give him worship. Give him praise now. Give him praise now. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. He's worthy of worship. Worthy of worship. He's worthy of praise. Worthy of praise. So lift your hands up high. Lift them up, reaching to the sky. Give him worship.
Alrighty, that's a sound from Coda. You've got to love Coda, however you turn him. He was just an amazing guy. And then Calvis Hammond, and they're saying irradiate. So if you're in any part of Africa, that's one of the local languages here in Ghana. And it's a beautiful Monday morning. We want to get at par with all the information that has to do with tech and trends. And if it has to do with tech and trends, then you know that we have in-house C. Ahine. Good morning, C.
Hi, Biadela. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Oh, you're looking stunning.
Well, it comes with the glory that falls on me. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Amen. And you're looking great too.
Thank you.
Yeah. See, don't be doing that. I'm the one who has been doing it. Don't try it at home.
I'll try my best.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so what's up? How was your weekend though?
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me, what do we have for tech and trends?
So, remember, hello guys. This is your girl, C. Ahine, bringing you the latest in the world of technology and the trending news that is shaping our world today. So remember, ending of last week, I told you about some events that were upcoming, and I told you must watch out for them. So they made my weekend. From Festival of Praise to the outpouring with Dunsi Noyenka. Oh God, it was a blessing. Moving on to the next story. So before we get to that, over the last week, Moses Bliss decided to organize a ceremony for two of his let me say, mentees who were with his record label, Spotlight Nation, and they were able to successfully complete their record deal. He decided to throw, a small get-together for them to appreciate them. So if the video is ready, let's have a look at it.
When two of them hold hands and will speak in tongues, we just fall here. What we see today is a fulfillment of prophecy. What we see today is the word of God becoming flesh. God. From my heart, Minister Vestizi, Minister Chizi, personally want to just do something. It doesn't touch your revenue or whatever. That one is yours, all right?
Yeah, that's Minister Festizi and Cheesy. They were with him during the Darling Jesus,
okay.
Darling. Yeah, and a couple of songs. So from Umbrella and oh, a lot. They've really
Moses
done well.
Bliss, actually, he has a way of just, showing some sort of love. I
Yeah.
think there was a video sometime he gave 3 cars to 3 different people.
Yes.
Another thing about this, at the time, I was like, why is it on social media? These things should have been, but it is what it is. Anyway, take us away.
Yeah, congratulations to them. And also moving on to the next story. So I'm bringing you highlights of the Festival of Praise that happened at Manchester. Our people went to sport there, from Emoji to Mercy Chinwo to Pastor Nathaniel Bassi. Let's take a look at this video. Okay, so what you just saw was the outpouring UK with Minister Dunsin Oyenka. God, what he did at UK, Biadela. What he did at UK, it was amazing. And he had to end the place with a Judah. I couldn't believe, I didn't know that UK people really love him like this. It was massive.
Gospel. Jesus said, go into the world and preach the gospel.
God.
So what is the gospel? That's it. We all understand it. We can flow with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think these people, these vessels are blessed.
Yes. And
I agree.
There was a lovely performance and ministration by Theophilus Sunday. You know him with his tongues, and when he just started with the hey yeah, oh God! I told you my weekend was really blessed with these people.
I can imagine.
Yes, and we had Isaac Oyedepo. He was also there with ministration, and he was charging us. He sang this song that really touched my heart. There is prophecy over me.
Yeah.
Oh God! And that was when you saw everybody. The crowd was just there. People were praying. If the video is ready, let's have a look at it. It was really powerful.
I see.
Yeah.
I can't wait though.
The outpouring with Minister Dunsin Oyenkan, and Theophilus Sunday, Isaac Oyedepo, and also, before I forget, our very own Emoji was there. He gave us a surprise performance.
I think that he did that. Was it that place that he did his able?
Yes. That's where he did his able.
And turn. Wow,
yes,
I think that was
he couldn't do it without his be lifted. And when he started, I mean, it was just nice to see how the choristers they just took the song, the congregation, and they were just praising the Lord. It was really lovely to watch and amazing. And before I forget, so over the weekend too, we saw that Mercy Chinwo also got 300 plus streams on Boomplay and Spotify.
Great.
And when we were checking the list, from Tim's to Burna Boy, Davido, she was the only gospel artist that made it to the list for both Spotify and Boomplay. That was a lovely one. And, the husband just had to congratulate and the lovely things that they wrote. Oh, my God. They're giving the singles pressure.
Oh, see, I think, oh God.
Yes, so it was a lovely weekend, and we are hoping for the best during this week too. We have a lot of new things coming up. So over the weekend as well, Pastor Nathaniel Bassi posted a song, You Are Good. So he has released a new song, You Are Good, and it is accompanied by a video. But the video will be released officially on the 31st of January. And now, do you know what? The nice thing is that he said this is not just a video, because we saw a video of a bride throwing the bouquet and all this stuff. And he was like, this isn't just a video. This is a prophetic song for someone. So those out there who are trusting the Lord to get married, I mean, this song is for you. You don't have to enjoy it just like that. You have to enjoy it praying, because the 31st January is dropping. and we are all going there on YouTube. We are going to stream it live and enjoy and praise the Lord. I mean, this year we will be having a lot of weddings.
Hallelujah.
I'm really looking forward to
it. We pray that yours is packed anyway.
We'll talk later.
Okay. Well, you heard the beautiful lady, Ahene. She comes in and tells you all the trending things. Well, good morning to all the amazing people who enjoyed themselves over the weekend and waiting to have a good week. You want to stay glued to Wake Up Africa and enjoy all the things that will bring your way. See, Ahene wants to give us some birthday. If we can give him like half a second to do it.
I'll try to be fast. So today is the birthday of our very own senior producer, DNA. So today is his wife's birthday, Mrs. Glory Atto. We wish you all the best. This one is not just from DNA. This one is from the entire Dominion TV crew. We say a happy birthday to you. We love you. We're sending you all the kisses and greetings. We are praying for the best. DNA, you promised us some Kimpiski and Oak Plaza vibes. So please, we want to see it. Add us to the place as well. We like to be there. So that's all we have for you for Trends and Tech today. This is my name. This is Ahene. See you next week.
Ahene, you just love birthdays. I'm sure that DNA will send you some cake and all that. But thank you so much. Thank you, girl. So happy birthday to Mrs. DNA, who actually keeps his DNA intact for us to have a good show. Yeah, right. All right, so this is Wake Up Africa. We're going to have a lot of things. Koku is going to come our way with what he's been thinking about. What's in his mind? Do you agree with what he's thinking? So what's going to happen is that he's going to lay bare what he's thinking, and then you would also like, share, and drop comments, all of that about what he's thinking. Then you can drop it on the pages and we'll be sure to read it. We're also going to be having some institutional support. Like we'll be talking to FDA. We want to know the inculcation of herbal medicine and all of that. So it's going to be real good. All right, so let's go for a quick break, and then when we get back, Wake Up Africa is going to continue.
In times of change, when the world seems uncertain and what we hear doesn't reflect what we see, we seek the truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes, and wishes for a better tomorrow depends on a free press. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people take risks to see. We connect the world and unite it with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
Africa 54, in partnership with Voice of America. Weekdays, 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Dominion TV.
Greetings, welcome to Bishop G Live.
Get ready for the supernatural.
You can be a believer and it still looks like your life makes no sense whatsoever. We're gonna give you the most important key to help you discover your purpose in life. If you miss the glory of God, you've missed everything.
Join Bishop Gregory Toussaint from Miami, Florida, USA. Bishop G Live, every weekday at 7:30 p.m. only on Dominion TV.
I wanted to make it a surprise.
Why?
I knew the dramatic appearance would excite everyone.
I've been looking for you for a very long time.
Why are you so intimidated?
But just complain that I'm fat.
But you are fat.
Here is my son.
Give me what I want and I will set you free.
Stop! Jesus has set me free.
just lead.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. This is Wake Up Africa. It's live on Dominion TV. We're also live on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. You want to connect with us, drop your comments, your thoughts, your submissions, your questions. I will share with the world. Well, let's get into some discussions now on the African continent. I have been worried about what is left of us in terms of what we will leave for the next generations, especially how we are faced with quite a number of issues that are synonymous to all the other countries. And so when you mention a particular country, you know that there is a high level of poverty, corruption, climate change, all here in Africa. Yet still, we are said to be the future. Indeed, by 2030, we're going to make the world's population, the young people are going to be making about 21% of the world population. What it means is that one thing we need to do is to begin to focus on what's happening here in Africa. And that's why I'm excited about what we started, the African Opportunities Initiative Thought Leadership Series, where we're gathering thought leaders across the world to talk about the African future. And that's most important to me. And I'm excited about it, even as our guests have joined us from across the world. I'm excited to introduce to you Reverend Chris Cooper, the 400, our 400 movement, Charlotte, United States of America. He joins us via Zoom. Dr. G.A. Pele is an investment banker, is a lecturer, an author, and an inspirational speaker. He's from Ghana here. Of course, Joseph Enemona Ame is a lawyer, a writer, human rights activist, public affairs analyst, all the way from Abuja, Nigeria. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you very much for your time. We're excited that you can join us. Hello, Enemuna, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me? Yes.
All right.
I guess so. And of course, I can see.
Nice to meet you. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you very much for joining the conversation. I can also see Dr. G.A. Pele also join us. Doc, can you hear me? Good morning. Doc, if you can unmute your audio and speak to us, we'll be excited about that as well. But I'm saying good morning to you, Dr. G.A. Pele. All right, we'll try and see how we can connect with them, especially in terms of audio. But let me start off all right, Dr. G.A. Pele, can you hear me now? All right. Let me start off with Mr. Ame on this one. You are a lawyer, a human rights activist, and again, we have seen in times past, in recent times, what has happened to the African continent. We've also spoken largely about what people have said in terms of prediction of what Africa can become, the good and even the best. Yet the current situation is not encouraging, and people have spoken largely against it. If you see Africa today and you are asked to describe Africa in 1 minute, Mr. Amer, what would you want to describe Africa as at the moment?
Thank you very much. My brother, I appreciate you for having me on this program. Africa at the moment is on the crawling stage. We are crawling, and we have not attained our full potentials. You know, I remember the days of the likes of Nelson Mandela, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, and the likes of Haile Selassie. Those men were founding fathers in Africa. They had a vision of an Africa that would be on equal level with the European countries, where our people will even have free transportation, free housing, free education. Like, for example, in Western Nigeria, during the time of the Western region, Obafemi Awolowo mandated free education all across Africa. But unfortunately, when the leaders who took over or who grabbed power after them, got into office, they now started with primitive acquisition of personal resources for themselves without considering the interest of the whole population. At this moment, Africa is crawling, and we have a lot to do to bring up Africa back to stand on its feet.
I see.
So that's what I just have to say.
Absolutely. Succinctly put, let me see if I can touch base with Dr. G. Pele. Doctor, if you can hear me, what would you want to describe as your African dream, where you want to see Africa be and how you want to see that Africa to be?
Well, basically, as Mr. Joseph Amma was basically saying, I think that without any reservation whatsoever, we might look on to the actual level that we need Africa to be like any developed country, if not very much so than as we do have it. We do know that civilization by itself started from Africa, so we should bear with the fact that we have rather had the world now anticipating or participating in what we already did have. So as a matter of fact, it's more about we going back to more a developed approach, if you will, to what precisely we have. I would rather want to emphasize the fact that we need an African renaissance, basically, in order for us to indeed explore. I think there are various areas that we see the world has far advanced onto, and as a matter of fact, I think as we get on into the discussion, we will indeed deliberate on that much further. But for an opener, I think I take that we need a renaissance and indeed to show of civilization how we will have to evolve very well within the Africa own story and in its own given peculiar sense thereof.
Let me stay with you, Dr. Pele, before I go to Lawyer Mayor on this particular one. While we touch base with significant challenges that are facing Africa as a continent, it's our problem or the challenges that we face, are they that major that it's as though it cannot be resolved, it cannot be solved at all? Are they that thieving, if you want to describe them, Dr. Pele?
Yeah, as thieving, I would agree to that. But Africa in its own situation should be considered that we are evolving through a very dynamic system. Okay, so there is no static or stagnancy whatsoever. Africa is indeed open, if we could, to the vast frontiers of things that we consider we could move. So we could rather soar tremendously higher than wherever we find ourselves in right now. It's all a question about willingness, that we are willing to metamorphose from there to whatever stage, right? Thereupon.
I see. Let me go to Mr. Mena. Let's now start talking about the challenges that face our continent. And if you can start off with what is the immediate one that comes to mind, and so that we can then now start talking about how we can solve them. So let's touch base with the challenges, significant challenges, or the most significant for you, Loyame.
Okay, for me, corruption ranks as number one among most African countries. Then, secondly, lack of free and fair election, fraudulent electoral system, where results of elections are being manipulated, where elections are marked by violence, thuggery, bribery, and all that. Then also lack of education. Our people they are not, a lot of our people are not educated. If you take the statistics in most of the African countries, education, has been thrown away. We need to come back to that. Then also, basic infrastructures are also not there in most African countries. Then, in terms of regional connection, most African countries, we are still laid back. We are not open to ourselves. We are not united to welcome each other, like having open borders. Africa as a continent, for us to develop, we need open borders, free visas across Africa. That is lacking. So those are the major issues that
I
think for now.
We'll come back and see how we can deal with them, or what is even causing them. Would Dr. Pele, would you also want to cite some of these as the ones that are most significant for you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, first and foremost, we need to look at Africa in a contextual case study. First and foremost, again, it should be quite clear that we do have a demographic boom that will be taking Africa by the year 2025. The average African youth today should be somewhere in their mid-50s thereupon, and by that time we would have been having the involvement of things that would have made the African environment to indeed thrive in every sense, as we deem that we need to move forward from. But in looking at what Mr. Joseph had enumerated, we should understand that it's not. I'm not too very comfortable with the first assertion of Africa being predominantly of corruption, and even with the electoral challenges we do have, because to face the facts as they are worse off in the Western environment, and even other areas than what we are seeing in most African environments. The challenge we have with Africa is the publicizing of what is more on the negative connotation than what is on the bright side of Africa. So most often with the publication of the negative, which is often engineered by the Western world perfectly, to give Africa a bad name, so that we're not that very competitive. If all of that is to be taken on a fair level ground, I don't think that Africa is too much a bad case as compared to even other European countries or other Asian countries thereupon. But it's more about we understanding that we need to go more back to the African system of operation. It will be more important that we understand that Africa itself has its unique homogeny that we can thrive by. And if we don't have the African identifying its own given peculiar way of growth, and not reliant on what the so-called Bretton Woods institutions are prescribing for us, then I think we might be still at the marking time approach, because they then become the yardstick as compared to we moving by what identification we have for ourselves in our own peculiar way to determine the successes. Of course, as human beings, we all do know what indeed becomes successful for all of us. And when we know we are thriving, we know we're thriving, we have that reality with all human beings, and therefore, if we can template what we know is indeed needed for the African tribe, I think we'll make a tremendous headway from there.
I want some clarity brought to this particular conversation, a very interesting point you raised there. Are you saying that the data available to the world, whether or not it is by the Bretton Woods institutions, whether or not Afrobarometer reports from the continent of Africa, suggests that what, in terms of corruption and corruption-related activities and issues, it can be seen to be worse in the Western world than in Africa? And are you, by that extension, also saying that the effect of corruption can also be seen, visited on the citizens of the Western world than in Africa? I want some clarity.
Oh, okay. That's a very good point and of observation from there. My emphasis was more on the area of publicization of what is the littlest thing that is happening in Africa gets highly amplituded to the world, given it as though it's only Africa that seems to be having the supposed whatever. A couple of days by, I was right within the diasporan environment, and some of the things that Africa could be lamenting about, to be very honest with you, are predominantly, even right now, more so endemic in those same areas. But for the picture of giving the African view that, I don't know whether by reason of our predominant dark skin that has given us the black name that should give us in every whatever. But the reality, I do know of the mindset that the African do need, because the African constantly is at a marking time approach because of the viewing that anything of lightness, of color, seem to be the way out, and based upon that, the African starts to more be moved by a given inferiority complex, which was not endowed by nature onto Africa, but by the view of the current African outlook of what they consider that the publicization of what they are told they are, for which reason it becomes that lamentation.
Absolutely. Okay, it's clear for me. I'm glad you brought clarity to that as well. Let me return to Lawyer Ame while we try to see if we can connect with Reverend Chris Cooper all the way from the United States of America. But Lawyer Ame, how did this begin to happen to us? Because the tenets, the principles and values of yesteryears, what we were taught, were laid on the foundation of probity and accountability. The fact that whatever it is that you do comes with reward or its punishment. And even if people come out to say that Christianity is what brought this impunity, I disagree, because again, I've read the Bible and it teaches you again the tenets of probity and accountability. So if you mention corruption as one of them, which I agree, top on our agenda, how did it come out? I want us to deal with the grassroots problem. How did corruption come up to be, and that this endemic, even as we're here?
Okay, thank you very much. First off, when you aspire for the position of leadership, you must understand that you are going there for service. Without that understanding, there is something wrong. if you view yourself as a leader, as a servant of the people, it means you are not going there just to acquire massive wealth for yourself or to acquire all the things you never had before getting into office, but you are going there to serve the people, to attend to the pains and yearnings of the people that brought you into power. But a situation where you force yourself, in some cases, I think Ghana has made a difference recently. But in Nigeria, most elections are almost like war. The same thing in other African countries, you have some seat-tight presidents like Cameroon and so on and so forth, and even Equatorial Guinea also. So when you go with the mind of service, all that values, all the value that of honesty, the value of dignity for other human beings, those values would be entrenched in your heart because you went there to serve. In those days, in the times of our forefathers, we had our traditional, oaths and other methods that people use in regulating character of people, fellow human beings, whereby if you do the wrong thing, the gods can bring a curse upon you or punish you. Then over time, things started changing. People started looking at luxurious lifestyle. People started looking at buying the latest cars, buying diamonds and golds and all the expensive things. So when a leader comes into power and the leader is not satisfied with his former 3-bedroom flat, he now wants to live in a 50-bedroom mansion just because he is now in power, pride now sets in. And when that pride comes, he wants to look like he's more than every other person. He forgets that one day he's going to leave that power and hand over. He forgets that one day, that 50-room mansion that he built, he may not be able to step out of his room to even go and look at 5 or 6 of them because he's so tired and weak in his body. So when we look at the future and realize that whatever we acquire, we are not going to, die with it. We'll, in fact, leave them and another person who does not even have any knowledge about it will inherit it. Now, without having that conscience in mind, without thinking about the dignity of others, it means that this corruption will not come to an end. And it also has to start from having a very free and fair election in all African countries. Because an election where you know that the people are going to hold you accountable because they voted rightfully for you, and you also know that next time you are going to come to contest again, hoping on the people's mandate. In such election, you are going to, stay in that office, carry out your assignment with the fear of God, with the dignity of the people in mind, And also, if you are in such office, you will not even want to, be oppressing anybody. You will not want to be, acquiring too many luxurious things, because you know that these things, people can ask you questions. They can hold you accountable for it. For example, in most of the European countries, if you as a leader, maybe a member of the House or a senator or a governor, buys like maybe $100,000 or 100,000 euro car, the public will question you. They want to know, how did you get this money to buy this 100,000 euro dollar car?
I see.
What?
Lawyer, okay, all right, okay.
But in Nigeria.
Okay, go ahead. Lawyer, can you hear me? Okay, while we try to...
They just say that you are a senator. Or they let us know that, oh, you were a businessman before you became a senator, or you were even richer as a private citizen than when you became a senator. No accountability.
I see.
So we need that accountability at all times.
Right.
Electoral reform and having respect for the dignity of others. Because when you take so much from the system, what is meant to go around to provide things like housing, to provide things like more schools, to help in more infrastructural development and technological advancement, such things that are supposed to go around will not go around everybody because a few have hijacked everything.
Okay, very well. That makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad that we are setting the tone for the conversation. Again, we're trying to tell the world of the real situation on the ground as far as the African continent is concerned. If you just joined us, this Wake Up Africa is on Dominion TV. We're live also on social, so Facebook, Instagram, and of course on YouTube. Join the conversation, drop your comments there. We're talking about the African future, and it's by way of the African Opportunities Initiative, the Thought Leadership Series. We're joined also by Reverend Chris Cooper. Is with the R400 movement, United States of America. And this is what the movement is all about: forging a bridge and path toward reconnecting, reconciling, reclaiming, and rebuilding the relationships between Africa, the African diaspora, and the African Americans. And of course, I'm glad that the man himself, who's had a lot of work around it, has joined us. Reverend Chris Cooper, if you can hear me, thank you very much for your time. I want you to further tell us of the work you have been doing with R400 movement and how it intends to reconnect Africa and, of course, bring some sanity and sanctity to our continent by sanitizing it. Talk to us about it.
Excellent. Can you hear me okay right now?
I can hear you.
Okay. Blessings on everybody. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on. It's an honor to be with you all on behalf of Bishop Claude Richard R. Alexander Jr., who is the senior pastor of our church, the Park Church here in Charlotte, North Carolina, who envisioned R400. I want to greet you all. It's such a blessing. Brother Benjamin Kwame Taria, who's been a very good friend of mine for over 20 years. He's been to my house here in the U.S. several times, and I've been to his home there in Accra. And I've been to Accra as well as about 10 to 12 countries in Africa multiple times over the past 35 years. And it's just a great delight and honor to be with you all. Just to get right to it, because I know everybody's time is valuable, and it's such an honor to be able to greet and meet all of you. Apologize for being 4 o'clock in the morning here in the U.S., but it's a delight to be with you. So to get to your point and to honor the question about R400, what is it about? So R400, again, as I mentioned, was really birthed out of a vision from my senior pastor and leader, Bishop Claude Richard Alexander Jr., back in 2017, where we were coming up upon the 400th anniversary of the transatlantic slave trade here in the U.S. And 400 years is a long period of time, right? And there's a lot of history, and it's not a lot of really good history. However, what he envisioned was, what about the next 400 years? What is that going to look like? I mean, 400 years is a milestone, but what about the next 400 years? And so he began to envision about the connection and the disconnection that we have between the continent, the diaspora, African Americans, and the continent in a variety of different ways, not just because of the divide of the Atlantic Ocean, but because of the nature of business commerce, agriculture, youth development, leadership development, the element of the economic power that the U.S. has to provide an influence and impact, not from a colonialistic perspective, but from a business as well as relational building perspective. See, here in the U.S., just within the African diaspora, as well as African Americans, we have 1.4 trillion, that's with a T, U.S. dollars of disposable cash that is generated on an annual basis here in the U.S. And yes, we have mortgages, we have car payments, we have insurance, we have, things that we need to purchase for ourselves. But in terms of our economic buying power, it's there and it's latent. And when you see the amount of goods that are coming from Africa or not coming from Africa, we're getting a lot from China, from Mexico, from different countries that are producing goods that we purchase here in the U.S. But there is a gap. There's a huge gap in terms of what we're able to connect with in terms of content items from Africa. And so we realize that there's a need for a couple of things. One, education, awareness, efficiency, and value of recognition of what we can partner with in Africa. And when I say this, it's a serious thing. There is a suppression, if you will, about Africa, and it's not coming from the U.S. It's coming from all over the world geopolitically in terms of recognizing that, yes, there are value points in Africa, but we're not going to let the floodgates open because we want to take advantage of what Africa has to offer. When what I'm really getting at is the value of the African national in these different countries, over 55 countries in Africa. There is a measure of suppression down to the least of these, and it's a deep conversation. But we believe that there is value in the African American, in the African diaspora that's here in the U.S. that can offer and provide economic value, but also resourcefulness value. As you know, many Africans that come to the U.S. to study, many of them stay, and some of them go back and forth, and that's fine, but they stay, and then they, of course, provide funding to their families and their communities from time to time, and that's good. But what about the intellectual capital, the relational capital, the value of what they can contribute into their own communities while they're here in the U.S. So we see the opportunity going forward in advancing, not looking at the past, but looking at the future, and advancing forward to see how can we partner, how can we provide. Initially, back in 2019, we had a conference called the Africa that came to Charlotte to visit and to participate, and this really kicked off R400 back in 2019. Now, what happened during is that President Kenyatta represented on behalf of the African Union in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, a resolution that was unanimously passed recognizing in Charlotte, North Carolina as an international with the continent of Africa. Now, this
Right. We're trying to sort our sound issue out, and so what we'll do is that we'll reconnect. But if you just joined us, we're talking to very distinguished personalities who have joined us. Dr. G. Pele is here with us here in Ghana. Reverend Chris Cooper, who was just talking, is from Charlotte, United States of America. And also, Mr. Amem is from Abuja, Nigeria. All of them are talking about the African future, and this is African Opportunities series, the Thought Leadership series that are here. We'll try to reconnect all of them again, and then we have that conversation. If you can hear me, Reverend Chris Cooper, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Very well. I can hear you very well. Thank you very much. You were just talking about that particular document that was signed by Ethiopia and, of course, Kenya. Walk me through finally.
Yes. Yeah, so this was unanimously acknowledged across the board from all the African countries in the AU back in 2019 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, when the African Union gathered together. Now, COVID hit in 2020, and so as a result of that, there was relatively a suppression because the whole world went on pause, right? And so we had this conference in the U.S. where we gathered a bunch of African nationals and dignitaries and diplomats that came, and recognized the value of what the R400 movement was about.
Okay.
Now, what we decided was to create sectors, because again, this is a movement over the next 400 years. So this isn't a 3 to 4 year project. This is a multi-generational impact movement, if you will. And so we identified a variety of different sectors to begin with. Now, again, the key thing here is to not only build a bridge, but to create opportunity, economic opportunity for the least of these as well as the greatest of these. I heard the word corruption and some challenges there in the past. I'd love to speak to that a little bit at some point in time if we have time. But in terms of the opening of the floodgates or opening up the opportunity for business connection and commerce to happen, R400 is designed to create that. So we have these sectors. Initially, we had about 30 sectors, and we within the last 2 years decided we need to boil this down to really 6 core sectors. And those sectors really help to define really what our focus is going to be going forward in the area of economic development, trade and commerce. We've got agriculture, youth development, leadership development, faith development, as well as there's a component of city development. And these sectors are designed to allow subject matter experts within the African American community here in the U.S. to look at opportunities and allow African nations to see opportunities to leverage the diaspora, the African Americans, as well as the economic power that we have here in the U.S. to not only invest, but partner in a healthy, constructive way to bring value across. And it needs to be, there's a term here in the U.S., KISS. And a lot of people say, keep it super simple. And others say, keep it simple, stupid. Well, I'd like to switch that to say, keep it super sustainable.
Okay.
Any model that is gathered and deployed needs to be not only sustainable, but replicable and scalable.
Okay.
And so we are looking at initiatives and projects that may not be super huge, but they can be replicated in other countries, and they can also scale in other countries. But the key thing I want to mention here, and this is so important, and I think that everyone on this call would validate this. Colonialism had a lot of bad things that happened across the continent. There were a couple of good things, but not a lot, right? After being in Africa many, many times, I realized the resilience, the passion, and the palpable desire that the core African has to emerge to be all of what God and what an individual has intended and desired to become. And that change and transformation comes from within.
Right.
It doesn't come from the outside.
Okay.
And so
right. What I want us to do now, Aaron Chris Cooper, we're going to toss you back again very soon on this particular one. And when we come back, what I want us to now look at is what the R400 saw. And I'll start that with Dr. G. Pele of what he thinks about the R400 and, of course, other initiatives that a lot of people have brought on board. But my focus will be on there must not be a ditch created, so much so that when the initiative is reintroduced, we could have them being swallowed by the same problems that we have faced and all of that. And so when we bring you back, we would want to speak largely about that very soon. But this is the African Opportunities Initiative, the Thought Leadership Series. We're dealing with African future. We want to talk about what exactly it is that we need to do to salvage the African continent from the scourge of the problems we have. Poverty, to in some places, abject poverty, penury. I mean, people are going through things. They do not have basic water. They do not have the electricity that you enjoy sustainably. So they do not have it. Food to eat, 3 square meal on the continent of Africa is a challenge. The image of Africa, as much as people are doing great things, people are also being, these cases are re-established on our soil. You can see what is happening in Sudan, DRC, Some of them are even silent. About last year, we heard of Cameroon, where conflicts were happening. And every now and then, the African continent is saddled with some of these issues. And that's why we want to continue the conversation so that you know exactly what's happening and what people are also doing. And so that you can also see opportunities while we wait for the leaders to come back to that particular route of making sure that Africa gets back to that particular one. We must make sure that you also sort out, opportunities. Reverend Chris Cooper is on the line now. It's via Zoom. If you can hear me, thank you very much for coming. While you were thinking about R400, we are also, before we go to the positives, we're looking at the negatives. Were there any issues that you thought that some of these initiatives, just as you have mentioned, especially the R400 movement, will begin to solve? We talked about corruption, we have poverty, abject poverty here on the African continent. Are there some issues, the negative ones, that you feel that this particular initiative can tackle? And how do we do that? Hoping that the people who are listening to us and watching us today will also come on board and support you.
Yes, thank you for that. So I apologize for the disconnect for a brief moment, but I did get the essence of your question. There's a few things that we believe that are going to be very important, and this might sound kind of like a dinosaur, something way in the past, and I think it has a lot to do with optics. So optics is a visual representation of what people perceive and see. We unfortunately, and this is an ownership that we have to embrace and recognize here in the U.S., as African Americans, or as my friends say that are from Africa, Black Americans, because we were born here in the U.S., we're not diaspora, right? So that African Americans have, and that is the perception. So there needs to be a lot of demystification within African Americans here in the U.S. about Africa. That sounds very, very rudimentary and unfortunate. But what I mean by that is that many African Americans, unfortunately, have been seeing the continent of Africa over the past 30 to 40 years through the lens of what National Geographic would present of Africa. There's not a lot of industrialization. There's not a lot of forward movement. It's still a continent. It's a bunch of countries that have people living in kind of rudimentary settings. So there's got to be a demystification and education awareness. Now, yes, there are bright African Americans that have been to Africa that have experienced what it's like to be in Africa, but they don't live there. They don't know. A lot of them don't know, not the educated, not the ones that have traveled, but those that have yet to experience Africa. So there's a demystification where they think the snakes are 30 feet long or 15 meters long, or they think that everybody doesn't have electricity. That sounds really preposterous, but there's a lot of people that think that. So there's got to be education and awareness here in the U.S. to demystify the reality that Africa is strong in a technology perspective, has emerging companies, has great advancement in so many different areas. And that then shifts the aperture of people's lenses to be able to say, okay, now that I see, now I need to experience. Now, in the U.S., African Americans, at least those that go to church, are very insular. They'll support the local community in terms of the areas that have need and poverty and challenges, but they're not missionaries where they're looking to send their money different parts of the world. That's shifting. The church, the Black church in America, is shifting to be more missional, more aware of what's going on in Africa, and wanting to see how they can get more engaged and involved. Now, from a business and an economic development perspective, those that are behind being able to emerge into new avenues are all in and want to go forward. But there's a lot of people who have economic capabilities and buying powers that have this narrow view. So we need to open up the lens and allow people to experience. And so there's a lot of people that are starting to see that. Okay. And as a result of that, Africa, I think, is the frontier going forward. Now, I know that the Chinese for the last 15 or so years have done a lot on the continent, and I don't want to speak too much publicly about that, but I've been behind closed doors with government leaders, and they are looking for alternative avenues to partner and to work with people.
I see.
And we want to make a difference in this area systemically, foundationally, and financially. However, it's not going to be in a colonialistic perspective. It's going to be from the inside out. We see and we know there's value, and we want to come alongside. And our 400 movement is designed to do that. Bring intellectual capital, financial capital, business experience, and to say, help us know what you need so we can listen. We want to listen, but we also want to surround you and supply what your needs are. Okay. Not free, but in partnership.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so that's a little bit of what I would say to that.
Right. So I'll come back to you again. Lovely, you talked about it. It does not have to be free, and I agree. It has to be in partnership. Free things, no. Partnership, yes. Dr. G. Pele, if you can hear me, welcome back. Can you hear me? Absolutely. Now, I mean, Reverend Chris Cooper talks about the issue of not only mindset, but we also changing the perception, because elsewhere around the world, there's an image on the minds of people about how Africa looks like. Let's now begin to talk about the positives. What can we do consciously, intentionally, to begin to change that image? And it has to be people within before people like the R400 movement led by the senior pastor of Chris Cooper are coming. But how do we do that right now, especially looking at the young people and the tools that are available to them, whether or not they are using it or misusing it?
Well, thank you very much. The emphasis for me has more to do with the demographic boom that Africa would have to take advantage of. We will have to have the mindset quite clear that Africans have everything that they do need to survive and to thrive and even become much more of any given civility. The problem that I might have with Africa has more to do with, as Reverend Cooper was talking about, the optics that the African individual try to fall or yield by reason of them thinking that by seeing things this way, it means that there is indeed no much of hope anywhere thereupon. The problem where the African think that you of necessity do need to have a help from somewhere beyond your indigenous operation, forgive me, is where one of the major problems is. If the African can understand that you are not even an island, but you are in full existence to be able to provide for everything you need for yourself and your surroundings, I believe that that is that mindset that is needed by the African to be able to strive and move to any level thereupon that there is. The problem I see with the African environment has to do with serious inferiority complex, with people thinking that the optics that the world has presented out there has become, in fact, if you will, the bane of the African. And you know, all of these things have their nuances within various realities. For example, when you're looking at the African attitude in the area of corruption, for example, you get take the African embrace of the given corruption that we see. Someone in Korea might be found as corrupt. And I know of a situation where the man goes home and commits suicide. Now, yes, that reality, but you do have a situation in Africa where somebody is rather told that, or somebody is made aware, or the society is made clear that somebody has gone rather to dish their hands into a given public place. And you rather find the entire environment running towards that person for them to also get their cut, if they will. So these are the, if you will, the kind of mindset that if it's not looked at and carefully worked at to be tackled, you will be finding the African environment themselves messing up with their own disdain that rather need not be. And you made an earlier point when you were asserting onto the issue of religious influence and how indeed the church and the Bible has indeed affected the African very well. I subscribe to that and I agree to that. In fact, the level of involvement that the African individual has seen and the eye-opener that has come, we cannot write out the clear indication that is because of the religious connotation that has brought the African this even awareness, in spite of the fact that we did have our own peculiar outlook, and those peculiar outlooks are also there for the very best. So if this can be tackled in all angles, such as that, look, we're self-reliant, it can be self-sufficient, and can be indeed everything that anybody else is doing out there in the world. And indeed, it's more about what the African is having as an African psyche to embrace in order for us to metamorphose thereupon. That is how I put it.
I see. Shortly before I return to Reverend Cooper, the issue of education and innovation and technology, I see there must be a balance. What it means is that the perception change must come from our education. And also how we magnify it has to do with the tools available to us that the world can see us through. How do you draw the balance between what is taught and what is taught in schools and even in our homes, and how that affects the mindset change or the shift in paradigm that we're looking for, vis-a-vis how the world is changing fast through innovation and technology, and how we can balance both? In about 1 minute, 30 seconds before I return to Reverend Cooper.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And in fact, I would subscribe to the fact that the first reality that Africa would need to tap is the area of education. We need education in every area of the African psyche. That is where my major concern is, the African mindset. What does the African consider they themselves peculiar in their reality as Africans? What it is that the African would want to produce to the world or give to the world that they are known by. Anything out of that might become more an issue of replicating where what they see happening elsewhere. And until the African come to that realization, it is the African that needs to know what is good for the African. It's the African that is indeed made with the clarity that, look, it is this that we know keeps us way ahead. It is this that we know indeed brings us in our own peculiar situation. And by reason of that peculiarity that the African identify, of course, we will thrive enough, and as we thrive from the local level, so would we be able to compete with the world generally, if you will, at that basis.
I see. Very, very, very instructive. Let me now return to Reverend Cooper. Again, as much as there's the issue of change in mindset and, of course, the perception of people elsewhere about Africa, also comes the case of unity. We've spoken about unity. What else would you want to see? Because for me, I want R400 and other initiatives that people are bringing on board to be very successful. The African people are listening, and they are ready to come on board to partner with you. But I'm sure you have an advice for them to say that, can you begin to change this thing, work on this, and refix this, and learn this, redo this, and do this, so that when we bring the initiatives, it has a benefit for all and not just some few people. Walk me through.
Yeah, thank you for that. You know, there's just so much here to unpack and talk about. just a couple of foundational things I'd like to mention, just dovetailing into the previous conversation from Dr. Pell, and that is that the future of Africa is now. And the reason why I say that is because by 2025, it's projected to go from 1.4 billion on the continent to 2.5 to 2.6 billion. So you think about the youth population right now, in 15 years is going to be the predominant demographic across the country and across the continent. With that being said, the area of inspiration, innovation, and implementation of new things is going to come out. It's going to have to come out. Technology as we know it today lives on this phone, lives on devices. Everybody is connecting. There's not even here in the US. We used to have a lot of landlines. We call landlines where you pick up the phone and it's connected to the wall. Everybody's using their mobile phone. Well, Africa's already has been advanced beyond that before the US is in terms of business connection, commerce, connectivity, and in the area of innovation. So when it comes to technology and the opportunity going forward, that is a mindset that has already been anchored in Africa. Everybody knows that fintech and all of that is going to be the future for how you connect from a financial perspective. Now, boiling that down even further, youth today, I mean, I've got a 22-year-old daughter, and she is off the charts brilliant. I mean, she did some testing, and she's way smarter than my wife and I. And it's incredible to see how advanced youth are, and technology has a lot to play with that. So with that being said, there are components of society that don't really see youth having value, but there's more value embodied in the youth culture growing up right now than there was 10 years ago. So we cannot look at these youth as being, well, they're not yet here. They're going to get here sooner or later, because they're the future leaders now that are going to be the leaders in 15 to 20 years from now. So there's hope needs to be instilled within them to know and have the mindset to believe that they can emerge to be who they're designed to be and who they are going to be. By suppressing that and saying you don't really know anything because you're just still learning, blocks that capability of inspiration, innovation, and ideation, and the things that will advance any society forward. So we have a big focus on youth development, and we think that that's important across the continent. And again, fuel the flames, fan the flames, allow those embers to burn within the youth. Now, with that being said, yes, there should be structure, and there should be stewardship and accountability and insight about how to help steer them. You know, someone said something to me one time, said, what do you do with a difficult person that seems like they just aren't listening and they're constantly trying to bring change? And I said, you know what? That person may not be evil, okay? They may not be bad. They're just not tamed. They're like a wild stallion and a horse. What do you do with that? You bridle that. You allow them to flourish and run without resisting them from and saying, no, you have to be shut down and put in this cage here. No, allow them to run and flourish, but give them some opportunity and allow them to advance and flourish forward. There's a lot to learn about what's happening in the youth culture now from a technology perspective that we in our 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, and whatever the age is, need to be able to release. And so there's an area that's really important in terms of mindset, is to allow these emerging youth that are doing experiments and testing and involved in technology in university and even in a workplace to advance that forward. You know, Bill Gates was with Africa.com a couple of months back, about 7-8 months ago, and I attended one of these early morning gatherings. He was live there on the continent, but I was zooming in, if you will. And he talked about AI and all, and I think that that's an emerging area that we have to be careful about, but we also have to realize is a area that can bring significant transformation anywhere in the world, but in Africa, from the area of health science, as well as agriculture and predicting, forecasting, and determining what kind of crops can be grown in different seasons. You guys have seen and heard all that. That's all coming, and in some cases, it's being experimentally utilized. So not stifling and holding those things underneath the basket, but allowing them to flourish, knowing that there's going to be some challenges and hiccups.
Okay.
But Yeah, so it's just a few little things here just to touch on that.
Absolutely.
But I want to say one thing, and that is that back in 2019, when we had our event here in Charlotte, North Carolina, we had hundreds of people that attended. In 2020, 2021, we were going to have it in Accra, Ghana. We're partnered, the U.S. ambassador to Ghana came. He was a part of the R400 initiative here, and we identified Ghana as our next place where we're going to have a big conference. So that's one of the things R400 does. It brings people together in the area of energy, trade, commerce, agriculture, faith development, youth development, city development, all that to bring together, and then allows business leaders and people to get connected and start to see projects deployed. We have yet to reemerge where we're going to be in our next transcontinental event. And we'd like to think of Accra being still that city center on the continent to host our next R400 event. We're looking at Kenya, we're looking at Tanzania, we're looking at obviously Ghana.
Absolutely.
So more to come on that, but this will help to unpack more about R400.
Absolutely.
Outside and beyond.
Righty. When I come back to you for your last words, which will be in 1 minute, you talk to me about the American dream and what you think that the African dream should be and the legacy you want us to leave for our future generations as a people, not you partnering, but as a people. Now, let me touch base with Dr. G. Pele. Final words on this. Let's talk about how we can, the legacy you want us to leave for our generation. If you can do that in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I'll be very excited.
Oh, okay. That's great. But thanks so much. Anyway, I would want to look at the emphasis of the demographic boom that subsequently moved down to, if you will, economic transformation, if you will. And then we can then also look at the African trade, intra-African trade. These are things that, as long, because the mindset is a bit too fixated on the fact that it's always something from outside that is to come and help the African. Yeah. We tend to overlook the importance of intra-trade, even within the continent itself. Yeah. I believe that there are billions of dollars right within the intra-African trade that we would not need any IMF or World Bank whatsoever, if you will, to take Africa and the individual African countries out of whatever woes they do find themselves. It's more just about the concentration on the view that, look, the African is determined to make a way ahead. And then let's set up a blueprint and follow that blueprint. And then indeed, the sky becomes the limit for Africa in that regard, if you will.
Absolutely. Before we go again, still on you, how much do you, I mean, are there some African countries that have started that particular fire or embers or flame that Reverend Cooper has talked about, where you can see hope coming from the country? Is there any one Africa country that you want to mention?
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, you myself do know the case study of what is happening in places like Rwanda, not the water, and things of that nature. Even our neighboring partners in Nigeria, for example. The issue is that the delight to determine what way we should path towards is the main challenge here. The African has all the capacity, the technical know-how, the necessary education, as Reverend Cooper was even saying, in areas of technology. I believe that we can have a technological booming, and we can take all those yardstick if we do have, and it's more about willingness. And once those willingness is in place, that this is the blueprint we want to go by, and we want to determine success by. And as long as we have that, no matter whatever spectrum that we have it in, it will indeed work for our success once we are determined for that success. to work.
Absolutely. Grateful. Let me now finally finish with Reverend Chris Cooper, an African dream, and how we can together here put our hands on deck and make sure that dream is fulfilled. Share with me.
Yes, so thank you for this, and allow me to wrap up with this final comment. And I thought about it in the moment in an improvisational way. And, you know, I want to use the term that, you know, the United States is a land of opportunity. Africa is a continent that has significant opportunity. And so I want to anchor with that. And there's a scripture passage in Galatians 5:1. It says, "It was for freedom that Christ set us free, and not to be entangled into the yoke of bondage." And so look beyond the past and look at what's in front of you. So I want to encourage with Martin Luther King Jr., which is a great American icon here. And this is a special week this past week where we honored him, where he overcame, and it wasn't about the color of his skin, but the content of his character. So I would like to say that for Africa's future in the dream is to have it, not only a dream, but to have a vision and have hope in that vision, to know that you can achieve what you envision as long as you stay focused and not allow the mindset of what the culture says, what the world says, but what you feel is happening within you. And that takes character, ethics, integrity, authenticity, and the ability to own when you're wrong, not to fight and stand firm and say, I'm going to defend myself no matter what, because I can't be seen as being someone who fails. Failure is an option, and it is an okay option, but to live beyond a failed experience or a failed step doesn't mean it's over with. It means you continue to move forward and learn from what you may have failed or where you may have made a mistake. So again, character, ethics, integrity, authenticity, and the ability to lean in and own when you make a mistake and to say, you know what, I can do better and I will do better. So again, the African dream, I would say going forward, is hope and opportunity, and to stay focused on not the naysayers, but on what you know is to be true for yourself. And that's what I would say. Just
Absolutely.
There's a lot to say in 1 minute, and that's all I can say.
Indeed, and we're also expecting to touch base with you just as the R400 makes its comeback to want to start those conversations again with Ghana. The young people as well will be ready to meet you up, because we'll do some house cleaning even as you prepare to partner with us. We're grateful. Thank you very much, and extend our greetings and love to the entire church. And we're grateful that the senior pastor is able to do this as well, Pastor Alexander. Thank you very much. We're grateful. And that's Reverend Chris Cooper, the R400 movement from Charlotte, United States of America. Dr. G.A. Pele is an investment banker, lecturer, author, and inspirational speaker. Gone by Joseph Anemona Ame, who is a writer, human rights activist, and public analyst, published Abuja, Nigeria, joined us to be able to have this conversation. It's being the African Opportunities Initiative, the Thought Leadership Series, and we're grateful to our guests for joining us. Remember that we're going to be coming through again on Wednesday with this particular conversation, even as we prepare our minds to take back Africa and to do it the right way. My name is Kokuluma. We'll take a break. Biadela joins me even as we wrap up. Stay with us.
To make it a surprise.
Why?
I knew the dramatic appearance would excite everyone.
I've been looking for you for a very long time.
Why are you so intimidating?
But just complain that I'm fat.
But you are fat.
Here is my son.
Give me what I want and I will set you free.
Stop! Jesus has set me free. Yes, Lord.
One upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GOtv Max and upgrade to GOtv Super, you'll get way more with GOtv Super Plus.
It's so cool.
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
Very good.
Perfect! Upgrade and get even more with GOtv.
Man.
GOtv. Love it.
Grateful that you can join us. This has been a wonderful time. Just as we promised, we're going to come your way with great content on Wake Up Africa on Dominion TV. Again, we're going to be rolling out a lot of other programs. Some of them that started off will be back pretty soon. Just Ask will be back. Gospel PR will be back. In Tune and Stride will be back. Quite a number of them. And that's why. Yes, even though I'm asking the question, I miss my guys. I mean, Reverend Lansoa, Reverend Bafo Bonnie in his clothes as a pastor, not a social commentator. Of course, Amlade, Reverend Amlade. Oh, I miss you guys. Yeah. I cannot wait. Maybe you are going to be taking over as well and asking. You are a pastor. You are even a pastor.
Well, I think I enjoyed that combo.
Yes,
mostly I would watch, maybe watch later. Again,
so
because
as well.
Tuesdays I'm like, okay, I'm watching half with my bombastic side. But all that, yeah. So I can't wait for that to come back. Yeah.
We're back tomorrow?
Good day. Yes, we're back tomorrow to cook and serve you with all the juicy stuff that you need to know. It's Wake Up Buzz. We'll keep you updated. We'll keep your body fit and then your spirit flying as well. And as we delve into other issues, there should be sports tomorrow.
Yes, sports is coming back tomorrow.
Yeah. We should be having some health issues and all that. So why not? You want to stay glued to Dominion TV. Thing is, even after the morning show, there are other amazing stuff packed up for you. So you always want to keep your, dial or switch on Dominion TV. Enjoy, get on our socials and drop your comments. Why not? We're ready to serve. Happy always to serve.
Yeah, of course. I think you are brightening the screen. I mean,
it comes with the curves. And it's the glory of God.
I feel like going home. My name is Kokumo. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
I'm Biadola. Bye.
Bye.
Are you ready? Are you ready?